As a husband, it's like we are trying to solve the problem of being an entrepreneur and for you to have to live with an entrepreneur. Like we're trying to solve the problem of the fact that we don't have a schedule. We don't have hours, right? So we don't shut it off mentally, right? So there are constant communications. There's constant thought process. We don't punch in, punch out, right? So that creates problems. There's consequences around that. So we just have to own it, guys. We just have to own it.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
At Genesis, we help successful chiropractors implement spinal decompression with a fully turnkey system that handles everything from marketing and new patient generation to systems, protocols, and ongoing support. The result? Massive value for your practice and life-changing outcomes for your patients, all without drugs or surgery. This is the next evolution in chiropractic care. Welcome to Genesis.
What's up, Remarkables? Welcome to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast, Chiropractic's #1 business podcast. I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
And I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
Super stoked for the conversation we're going to have today. It's not a business conversation, Pete. We spent a few moments here pre-game talking about what we want to talk about today. Always sharing our inspiration. We got to say, what has God put on our heart today? What do we want to share? What's fresh? What's hot? What's new? What's front of mind? And you and I are just coming off of an incredible weekend together with our incredible wives. So we thought we'd have a conversation, seeing it's incredibly timely, just rolling right off of that weekend. I'm about to roll into a weekend where I've got my 28th wedding anniversary with my remarkable wife, Camilla. We're 31 years together, 28 years married, and you've got an anniversary coming up yourself. What'd you say?
19 years of marriage and 24 years together.
Just awesome, man. So today, we figured we'd share some stories from the battlefield, and we love to talk about it's about having a remarkable practice and a remarkable business as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. So today's theme is happy wife, remarkable life.
Happy wife, remarkable life. Man, I love it. I love the upgrade because happy wasn't enough. Remarkable is better. So you can make a note and start using that moving forward, my friends, because that is the standard. It's about a remarkable life. And, one of the things that we say, and I say this to every doctor I ever speak to for the first time, when let's say they're encountering, maybe you're a listener to the podcast and you said, hey, you know what? I got to talk to these guys. I really need to learn more. I got to figure out what I can do to help me have a better business, a better practice, a better life. That's one of the first things I always say, Dr. Stephen. I said, listen, our premise is our underlying core belief. So that is the thing that's the underpinning to everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that we create, whether it's a creation of an event or an experience, it's a creation of a podcast episode, a creation of a tool that's in our toolbox inside of the academy that's going to help your CAs function better. All of it is designed with one underlying core belief, because that's what the premise says. This is the underlying core belief, and this is the belief that you can have a remarkable practice, fill in the word, a remarkable business, as part of a remarkable life and not instead of one. Full stop. Take a second, turn the page, and start writing the next thing I'm about to say. But you got a lot underneath a blank space under that one statement, because that is where you need to spend some time. You can have that. Most of us don't, I think deeper down, Dr. Stephen, we don't believe that that's possible because, and we can fill in the blank with all of our reasons, whether those are, and you might have absolutely valid reasons why you might say, well, no, man, every time I try to grow my business, my family suffers, or my health, or there's a price that has to pay, and it's usually my marriage or my family. What we're saying is we understand what you're saying, and we've been there and done that. These two, business and life, they don't have to compete. They can complement. And what I teach and what I've experienced is that not only can they complement, but they can integrate. And it's the integrated life, the fully integrated life that I believe is possible. And to me, Dr. Stephen, that is a standard that we're saying for you to have both a happy wife and a remarkable life. It's possible. Switch it, say happy husband and remarkable life. Whoever is listening to this, we happen to be having happy wives, or that is our objective. That is an outcome we are desiring. And we know we can have that and have a remarkable life. So I'm not going to come in here, Dr. Stephen, on this podcast and say I have it all together.
I got it all figured out.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'll be the first guy to say, this is a area where I need regular treatments, regular adjustments, and to do my, follow all three legs of my stool. It's like, no, man, I need to be accountable in this area of my life because it is a constant opportunity for improvement. And there's always room to optimize in this area. We had an awesome time being able to be with the Fransons last weekend. What a blessed, time. What a great, we're so grateful to be able to do life with you, to see how you do your life, and to see how you do your marriage, to experience your children. We had the opportunity to go north, so we got to be with you guys. So it was just what a blessing for Mary and I. And we were able to speak on the way home, and just even throughout the week, it's just things we admire about you, things you guys have done really well, and just picking up just on things during just our time together, just with gratitude. So I'll just say that to you. So
yeah,
thankful.
brother, I appreciate that.
We got to have that time to break bread. And also what was funny is to recognize, like, they're very different, like not from us, but like different people, like we can relate with that. Like, It's amazing how God's sense of humor is. I'm going to go ahead and take some people that are wildly different. I'm going to put those people together, and they're going to,
in fact, let me see if I can find an opposite for you.
Exactly. So, this idea, we talk about progression versus perfection, and I'm just going to lean into that and say, guys, it's not about perfection. It's just about progression. Like, embrace, it's a lifelong journey of making incremental progress, 1% every day, right? You don't have to be perfect, because I'll be the first guy to say I failed if that's the standard, and I'm never going to reach that. But
that's right.
We're making progress. If you're making progress and you're committed to progress, just commit to that. You'll keep showing up every day. I'll keep showing up and says, give me one more chance. I'm going to say, I'm sorry again. Give me one more shot. Let me see if I can get it right this time,
Yes.
And I'm the first guy to say, I need all the grace I can get.
I love that you started there, right? So, because, the truth is we all walk with a limp, right? And we certainly are coming limping into this room. And I want to make sure that we frame this thing properly. It's like, I love the visual of like walking into the locker room after 4 quarters of football, and hopefully after a win, and you look around that room and, people are stoked, they're psyched, but they are sweaty, dirty, bleeding, broken, grass stained, right? So there's probably some injuries. Somebody's probably laying on the floor, right? So dehydrated, right? So, and exhausted. And it's like, yes, another day. That's more the story, of like making it through the day as an entrepreneurial couple, which is awesome, right? So, I think that, it's easy for people to look at somebody on the stage or listen to somebody on a podcast or, some social media influence or whatever, and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you've got it all figured out. I know how you get it all figured out. It's like, no, we don't. Right. So you just have to understand that we're in the throes of the battle too. And if we can share some insights and maybe some laughs and some stories of inspiration, keep you from making some of the mistakes that we've made. And I love the idea of just sharing some best practices and marriage hacks. Hacks is a terrible word for, something in marriage, but your reality is every bit helps, right? So there's some things that we can share that I think have served us well over the years. And most of it is scar tissue, right? So things that we learned from it, like, oh man, doing it that way doesn't work. And I know that, it's wicked hard, but it's worth it, right? So this is, one of the most important things in our life, right? So I'd say your second most important thing in your life, I think for us, I know we shared the, number 1 is our faith walk, but number 2 is our marriage, right? So number 3, probably our children. And number 4, maybe being a child or somebody's child, and the rest of your family and friends, and then your businesses, et cetera. So, this is an incredibly important thing. And if you're anything like me, I can be firing on all 7 of 8 cylinders. Everything else is going awesome. But if things aren't going really well with Camilla and I, man, that's just like, things are wonky everywhere, right? So it is, I'm totally capable of compartmentalizing and being able to like shut it off and shut it down and put my head down and get to work. but in my heart and in my gut and my stomach, I just know when things aren't aligned, when Camilla and I are not aligned. So I feel that as much as I feel if like something sideways with one of my kids, it's just like, I can feel that. It's like one of those things that just doesn't go away until you make it right. So, I think that this is such an incredibly important CEO conversation, because we have to appreciate that this is true for us as well as everybody that's on our team, right? So getting this remarkable marriage thing right is incredibly challenging and equally important.
I love that you went there too, specifically the word aligned. And the word that came to me that I have been saying over and over, and I continue to go back to for Mary and I, is the word united, like united. So united is like, it to me is another way to say aligned, because united doesn't mean like we are both equally in agreement and feel really good about it. It means we're committed to unity, which is the same thing as saying we're committed to doing the right thing, not being right. Like I may not get my way or have things go exactly how I would have wanted. I can actually say with confidence, I won't have that. I don't have that. Sometimes I get some more of it, but more often than not, it's actually coming to a place of unity through a compromise is a word that we use, but it's more like acceptance of the fact that to be united and to be aligned, there's going to be concessions. I'm going to have to let go of another word I love, control. Like I can't control you or it, the thing. And so I think it's such a great lesson for us to apply in our businesses. Actually, because you said this is not a business conversation, I would actually say there's so much you can learn from how to run and have a remarkable marriage that you can, if you applied it in your business, you could have a more remarkable business. So I would say it applies. Sometimes people say, hey, you should run your house like you're a CEO of your business. And there is value to that, actually. There's value from the business to go into your better life. But man, there's so much value from, as a leader, as a CEO of your business, that you can learn from being a great wife or husband, parent, that running a household, helping run a household, supporting in that if you immediately applied those same principles in your business, you could see some great growth. And one of them is your attentiveness to that inner, what you were just talking about, that inner, like your soul, your deepest core, like, man, something's off. And if that's off, I'm off. I'm going to show up and I'm going to leave it at the door and put my game face on and be ready to play the game. But I know I got to go work on that. Like that's off. And that to me is exactly what you're talking about. The two become one. Like the way God designed it was that two are one. So we become one, which is unity. It's like, well, okay. And so that means that it's going to be constant working at it. I'm going to be continuously working at this relationship, and I'm committed to that. So I'm going to share something because we wanted to get practical. I do this thing called, and I actually learned this through C12, which is a group I know that we've been a part of, both you and I. But it's my life wheel. And what I did was I took the 10 areas of my life, and I defined what a 10 is. Because oftentimes they'd ask, where are you at on the wheel, like on a scale of 1 to 10? So I did this thing where every Friday I'll go in and I'll just give myself a score. But I was like, well, how do you know? Like, what is your criteria? And so I came up with a criteria for marriage. And these are simple things that are just quick and easy for me to say done or not done, or yes or no, or whatever. So here are a few things for me on my marriage. Number one, am I huddling up daily with Mary? Huddling up there's a variety of ways we huddle up. But did we get alone time with nobody else, just to talk,
FaceTime,
connect? Yep. So daily huddle. So that's one. And it's an important one. And there are days that go by, it's like, I would say, no, we missed it. We missed the huddle today. That didn't happen for whatever reason. Number two, we pray together daily prayer time. Now, it doesn't mean 30 minutes. Actually, today, as a matter of fact, it was 30 seconds, but it was an intentional moment. I sat on the side of the bed. Hey, held your hand. Hey, and then I was off to the races kind of thing. It was just the way it was. So I can say today, as an accountability, I'm on track, but it doesn't have to be this massive thing. Just number three, weekly date. Okay. We do in dates out. So sometimes it's like, no, we're doing an in date. Mom and dad are closing our door, locking our door. Kids, you're good. We're in here, and don't come and talk to us. You guys are good. You're being taken care of. Whatever the situation is, they're good. They're mealed, they're fed. They're going to get put to bed or whatever. And we're getting our time. We've done those. And we learned that from Mary's parents, who had 10 children. So it's like, we learn that. And then there are dates where we're like, no, we're going out, and we go out. So that's another thing. So is that, but weekly. And then we'd have another weekly meeting, the coffee break, right? Where we're able to talk about our life. We're able to talk about our schedule and all the things that are going on. And it's business. I mean, it's talking shop. And what we have that too. And that protects the day. We learned that from the Franson, to have that weekly coffee break, weekly meeting. I have 3 more. Next one is face-to-face time, no tech every day, just to talk and connect. That's hard. So what we have to do? We have to take the phone and leave it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard, because it's in my pocket. It's fine. I'm not looking at it. Or I have it face down on the table. It's fine. No, actually, that's not fine. That's still too close. Because it's amazing how tempting it is just to feel the thing in your pocket or whatever. And you're just not present fully with that person. And they deserve, like when I'm on this podcast right now, Dr. Steven, I'm not checking my phone, just FYI.
That's right.
I actually don't have my phone. I mean, I know where it is, but it's not a part of this moment. You have my full undivided attention, as well as everybody who's listening to this right now, because they're the recipients of it, because they deserve that. They deserve me and my full undivided attention. So that's something we committed to. And I have to check on myself. Am I doing that? Number 4, the second to last one is quarterly getaway. Quarterly getaway. Getaway doesn't have to be like far away. It just means quarterly there's a getaway. It could be just 24 hours that we get away. I mean, away from the hustle, bustle, the grind, the commitments of the day to day. That's 365 days a year. Like, you got to get a day. And so that's changed over the seasons, Dr. Steven, depending on the ages of the kids and the seasons of our life, but every quarter committing to that. And there are quarters that go by where I said, fail, we didn't do it. Okay. So I didn't score. I didn't hit my number. I didn't hit 10.
Yep.
And then one of the other ones we added, because this is a desire, it was just a bigger getaway, bigger vacation, just us every other year, like a bigger vacation, like go somewhere more farther away, take a more extravagant, a little bit more time, but just us. So that's just an example, Dr. Steven, of some things that we've done, and that's helped me stay accountable to where am I at on a scale of 1 to 10 this week, or this month, or this quarter, or this year. And that's been helpful for me. So I just wanted to share some of those.
Yeah, it's so powerful. Like, all of those, what we call mechanisms, are in place to protect the space and time for you to be present with your wife, right? So it's, dare I say, and this is borderline a sexist episode we're doing today, but we have no experience as wives, so forgive us, everybody. As a husband, it's like we are trying to solve the problem of being an entrepreneur, and for you to have to live with an entrepreneur. Like, we're trying to solve the problem of the fact that we don't have a schedule. We don't have hours, right? So we don't shut it off mentally, right? So there are constant communications. There's constant thought process. We don't punch in, punch out, right? So that creates problems. There's consequences around that. So we just have to own it, guys. We just have to own it. So whether I'm talking to a male or female entrepreneur right now, you've just got to recognize that you don't check out when you leave the house, right? So many people, and it seems bizarre that I have to say it that way, but because you're probably like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, no, this is making the invisible visible. It's like, we don't mentally check out. So entrepreneur is not something you do, it's someone you are, right? Especially when you're an on-purpose chiropractic entrepreneur, right? So you're 24/7, 365. So you've got to create these mechanisms. So many of those mechanisms are there to create the space and time for you to put your focus on something other than your business, and just focus on your marriage, right? This third entity, there's you, there's your wife, there's your marriage, right? So it's just like, and to honor that, right? So, and it's for our spouses to see that we are honoring the marriage and them in a way that we've like carved out times in our schedule. For some of you, you might feel like, man, that feels rigid. I could never operate like that. It's like, why can't we be spontaneous? I'll be truthful right here. I can do almost anything but be spontaneous. like my kids know that, my family knows, everybody's like, I can do almost anything but be spontaneous. This is just like, let's plan it. Let's put it on the calendar, and I will be there. Right. So, and I will prioritize it. I'll put it on the calendar. And if it's on my calendar, I honor it. Right. So the hardest thing for me to do, frankly, is to be spontaneous. And for some of you who are more spontaneous, like, oh, I'm throwing up on my mouth a little bit. I'm like, it's okay. That's just not me. That's not how I operate. But I also can look at my calendar and tell you, when do I do my morning rituals, my prayer? When do I spend FaceTime with Camilla? When do I have my time with my children? My workouts, my family dinners, when I adjust my family, all of those things are on my calendar. Anybody who can see my calendar, you can see it, right? I block that time because that's what I'm going to be focused on. So I have date night with my wife on the calendar, and I have coffee break on with my wife on the calendar. Like, these are the times, church with my family, family dinners. These times are sacred. They're on the calendar, and it says, this is where I will be. I'm committing my focus to doing that. So Dr. Pete, I love the fact that you're pointing out these mechanisms, right? So one of my lifelong mentors, Dr. John DiMartino, used to say, make your publics private and your privates public. And when you were talking about what we can learn about our marriage can help us in our business, this door swings both ways. What we learned that made our businesses successful, we can bring home and help run these busy modern lives too. Like why are we so successful in practice and in our business where we're struggling with this component on, meetings and communications and transfer of information at home, and it creates stress and strain, whatever. That's where like the coffee break was birthed, right? So, you mentioned the coffee break, and that was a mechanism that Camilla and I created out of need. Because, when it was, we've been together since the second quarter party at Life. So we did school together, internship in Arkansas together, associateship in Virginia together, started a business together, 25 years in practice together, started the Remarkable practice together. We are obviously working out of the house together. It's just like, we've done everything together, right? So we were fine just kind of like muscling through the day and communicating throughout the day. And next thing you know, we started getting busier and busier and busier. And, all the dinner talks turned into meetings, right? So, and the next thing you know, we started having kids, and with God's sense of humor, it's like, okay, so Camilla, her highest and best calling was to stay home and raise our children. And I was like, Dr. Camilla, stay home and raise our kids. That is your number one calling right now. That's where you should be putting your time, energy, focus, and talent. I will run the practice. So now we have divergent lives, right? So I'm going in one direction, she's going in another. And then every time we got together, we're like trying to exchange all this information. And frankly, Dr. Pete, by the end of the day, I was smoked, right? Seeing 350 people a day, that's intense. The last thing I wanted to do was have an adult conversation, and she was dying for one, right? She'd been with kids all day. So now, like, every interaction was, can we catch up on this, catch up on that? Pillow talk we start talking about, the landscaper and whatever. I'm like, what is going on here? And then date night turns into a meeting, right? So, which is the worst, because I'm sure you're like me in that I know what I want for an outcome. I know how I want date night to end, and a meeting is not going to get us there, right? So I was like, time out. How is it that we're able to exchange all this information at the practice in business, and it's such a struggle to do it at home? So we said, let's just have a meeting. So we brought the weekly meeting into our marriage, right? And created that environment where those communications were protected. That time was sacred. And I know my role in that meeting. It's like, sit down and shut up and pay attention. She has my undivided attention, and I'm fully available to her, right? So my job was to get the babysitter. My job was to make sure that it was happening, right? So my job is to execute. Her job is to just be there and be ready and show up with her agenda, her list, her calendar, her questions, the commentary, etc. So that for us has just been such a best practice, a vital behavior in our marriage for years. I know, I hope that's a blessing for people to hear that. It's like that coffee break is an example of one of the things that are in our life that ensures, the space and time for us to stay connected, for us to share vision story, to make decisions through the lens of our core values, for us to just have the collisions that are just the essence of day-to-day life. And it wasn't just that 2-hour period, that coffee break every week. It wasn't just what happened there, but how that impacted the other 166 hours a week. That just what we recognized was we had a place secured. We knew we were going to be able to have those transactional conversations. And that way, on all the other moments, it protected all those other moments, so we could just stay present and enjoy each other as husband and wife.
Please stick around for more business insights from this week's bonus interview with our remarkable success partner, dedicated to helping you more successfully help more people. Enjoy.
Dr. Kendall, it is awesome to have you. I'm so excited. It's an honor to have you on our CEO podcast. We have an amazing CEO audience here with us today, and some of them may know who you are, and some of them might not know who you are. So I was hoping that you could maybe just take a moment, introduce yourself, help us to get to know the expert in the room a little bit. Tell us your story of your business, Elevate Marketing.
Yeah.
Some folks in the audience will have familiarity with Elevate and others might not. So let's talk about what's led us to be sitting here together today.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me, Dr. Kale. I'm super excited to be here, to be able to drop some wisdom, hopefully, and be able to help docs grow, help them scale their practices. I'm just like everybody that's probably out there listening, right? I am a chiropractor, subluxation based practice. And we're rocking and rolling in the Chicagoland area. And I think that the sort of genesis of where I came from, and, I was in practice and we had grown our practice to $1 million practice. Right. And so I know that there's a ton of people out there that they want to do that same thing. And I learned, right, from trial and error, what worked and what didn't. But what I realized was that marketing and bringing new patients in the door was one of the most important things that most practices struggle with. And it was something that, honestly, for me, it became something that was kind of easy because I developed the skills, but not just the skills, but the mindset to be able to do that as well. And Elevate really spawned from, if I'm honest, it was a very selfish desire for myself. I was right next door to a gym, and the guy who was running the gym, we became friends, and he was telling me about the marketing that he was doing for his gyms, because he had 3 at the time. And he was telling me about this guy, Alex Hermosi. And he was working with Alex Hermosi. For those of you guys who don't know, massive in the social media marketing world.
Yep.
And he was learning all of these principles and concepts. And so what we did, and through having dinner conversation, we said, I'm like, well, why don't you run ads for me? I'll pay you to do it. And so I had one-on-one with him to be able to go next door and whiteboard out ideas and talk about the things that were, and we built a system, if I'm honest, that was really designed around my practice. Very selfish, right? But we started getting good results. We're getting great results. And I'm like, 6-to-1, 8-to-1, 10-to-1, 12-to-1 returns. And I'm like, dude, I got to tell everybody about you. So I started.
Those are good numbers.
Yeah. So I started referring people, in the doors, and Elevate was born from that. And so along that path, I worked in a kind of behind the scenes role, helping chiropractors to, understand mindset shift, to be able to have conversations with them, to be able to say, like, look, if you do these things, this is what gets you the best results. If you don't do these things, you're not going to get the sort of results that you're expecting. And I think that's really where Elevate has come from. And I don't know when this will air, but we have actually just been named to the Inc. 5000 list for this year. So
awesome. You're on the grow.
Yes. So that's a very, very exciting piece of news. And it just goes to show that we're growing as a company, but marketing is really ever evolving, right? And that's the thing that I think is so unique. But the thing that I love about what I do is I get to speak into practices and into their 4 walls about what to do, how to navigate the problems and things that they see, and be able to, come shoulder to shoulder with them and say, look, I am a chiropractor. I understand what's happening in your practice. Here's the levers, here's the dials that we can pull to be able to make a change.
Awesome. You've addressed a little bit of the question I'm about to ask, but I think there's maybe a bit of room for it. Most of our watchers or listeners are going to be familiar to some degree or another with marketing in the chiropractic space and social media marketing. I'm just curious about what you're doing at Elevate that maybe sets you apart a little bit from what other chiropractic marketing companies are doing.
Man, that's a great question. And I think it's a great question because there's so much out there, right? And it's like, what is working, what is not? And I think that because the market is evolving, right? I mean, it's July of 2025, and the market is tough. The economy is tough for a lot of chiropractors. And I'm seeing this across the hundreds of clients that we have, that things are tough for a lot of practices out there, but there are things that you can do that really help. And I think that the approach that we take is what really separates us from a lot of the competition, in that we're trying to understand your local market, because gone are the days of everyone just saying, spend $1,500 in ad spend and you're going to get 100 leads. That doesn't happen anymore. you have to be much more focused and intentional around how you are building your funnels, right? So the ad is the top, right? The ad is what gets somebody to stop the scroll. But what happens after that? What are the emails? What are the text messages? What does the follow-up cadence, what are those things doing to drive people into your doors? And so we help our clients to, number one, we've built systems that work for that, but then helping them to be able to tell their story through their marketing message. Because the reality is 30 new patients on your calendar and only having 5 of them show is a much worse situation than having 20 on your calendar and 18 of them show.
Yeah.
And so it's being able to pull those levers, move those dials to be able to help practices do that. And I think one of the really cool things that we're seeing, especially in the AI space, is that the ability to reach out to leads, whether it be through text messages, and we've actually developed a voice AI that actually reaches out to leads and will get them scheduled into your calendar, right? To where it really removes that barrier. Because right now, one of the things we're seeing that's more important than it's ever been is speed to lead. And if you're not reaching out to those new patients that are scheduling within 5 minutes, in a lot of cases, you're losing them. And what adds to that is the fact that the majority of people who opt into a funnel are people who are not, they're sitting on their couch and they're scrolling at night. And so that's not when your practice, that's not when your team is able to respond. And so we're looking at the problems that we see and then creating solutions for those problems.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a lot of the pain points that I hear, when I talk to my clients, and certainly in my own practice too. So, as you know, Doc, most CEOs, well, hopefully all CEOs make business decisions. So they always want to know they're getting a good ROI, a good return on their investment. So could you speak into that for your clients with Elevate, like what our folks might expect to experience?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously across the nation, across the world, ROI is it's going to vary, right? I mean, we've got clients who are doing 10, 15, 12x, right? And we've got clients who are doing 2, 3x, right? We guarantee that all of our clients see at least a 2-to-1 return. Our average is somewhere between 4 and 5x, simply based on the numbers that, having looked at the data, across the past couple of years, that's what we're consistently seeing with our clients. Cool. Right.
What do you think? I've seen this happening in digital, in the digital space, where one system in a particular environment gets a 4-to-1 return, and the same system in another environment gets a 20-to-1 return. What is the thing that's driving that?
So, couple of things, right? So the number one that we can't control is market variability, right? I mean, I always give the example, if you chose to live in Denver, Colorado, Denver is an amazing place to live, but a lot of people have moved there because it's an amazing place to live. If you're in Little Rock, Arkansas, right? Maybe your family's there, maybe, your significant others, whatever it may be. Not as many people are looking to move there. So you might get better results just from a numbers-based perspective there than in, say, Denver. Yeah. But one of the things that we can control, that we can do something about, is the creative that we put out. Because the way that Facebook's algorithm is now working is there's 2 things that are going to drive results. It's your creative, meaning your images, your videos, and your ad copy. And so those are things that we can tweak, modify, and play with to be able to get best results. Now, one of the things that I see from most doctors is that it's the creative, the videos, the images, the things that they send, they aren't up to snuff, right? They're not producing good enough content that's actually going to get people to stop their scroll. And so that's something that we do with our clients, is we'll actually write the scripting and give it to you and say, this is the ad that you need to do. Go do it. Lots of energy, make it spicy. That's how we need to create content that is going to get people to stop scrolling and then be able to start building trust through the funnel, because we are in a trust recession right now. And if you want to be the person that someone comes to and trusts, especially with a Facebook or Instagram ad, you got to get them to stop scrolling. But then with all of the content and the things that you're putting out, that's where you need to build trust for them that they know that they're making a good decision. And that leads to better show rates. That leads to a lower cost per show. And that is what is going to drive the results ultimately in your practice as far as what happens day 1, day 2, day 3.
Got it. Love that. You've kind of talked about this already, Doc, but I'm curious about your vision for the future. When you look at the challenges that are coming for the chiropractic profession going into the next year, 2 years, 3 years, what do you see? What are the challenges? What do you assess our needs are? How are you and Elevate sort of preparing for that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that there's a lot of things that are happening in the world right now. So, I mean, from the trust perspective, I think that that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that not a lot of people are talking about. And if you are going to be marketing online and you are going to be doing marketing online, especially digitally, Facebook, Google ads, whatever, and that's where a good portion of your new patients come from, content is going to continue to be king, right?
Mhm.
Making sure that you are producing good content that is actually going to help, right? So a couple things that are that in addition that are really happening is, Instagram just came out actually on Sunday, so July 10th, 2025, where Instagram is now Google is going to be pulling content from Instagram. And so there's actually a way where if you put a image up of you adjusting someone on your tables, that you can go into the alt text of that creative and actually be able to put in what that is. So Google will start pulling and extracting that information from Instagram through the powers of AI and the things that they do to be able to put that content in front of people. The other thing that I would tell you that we're seeing a lot of is something called GEO, right? So everybody has heard of SEO. Yes, but it's generative engine optimizations. And I'm kind of on the techie side of things, but a lot of people are getting to the point where they are searching for things on ChatGPT, on Claude, on these
Sure.
engines. And so those are the things that we are seeing. And so if you are not working with a company who's doing things to optimize your website to actually pull in that data to where ChatGPT is pulling good content, you're going to start falling behind even in the SEO game. And so those are all of the moves and things that we're moving towards as a company. And we've already started implementing with practices that we work with to make sure that they're ahead of the curve as far as where their practice stands out in their community.
Awesome. That's cool. That's awesome. Listen, Dr. Kendall, you shared some, I think, incredible pearls with us already today in just these few minutes. So thank you for that. I want to make sure that our listeners can get in touch with you if they want to after they've heard what you've had to say. I'm confident there's going to be a lot of folks wanting to reach out. So how do they get you? How do they reach you?
Yeah, so there's going to be a couple ways. So number one is just goelevatemarketing.com. So again, goelevatemarketing.com. That's the best way to get in reach with me, but you can always also reach out to me via cell, right? I have all of my clients have my cell phone number, so that way we can be able to, workshop through anything that they have going on. And that's 618-406-5285, or you can email me at drkendall@goelevatemarketing.com.
And we'll drop it on the call too. So that's cool.
Awesome.
Doc, is there anything else you want our audience to know about Elevate?
I think the only thing that I want people to know is that we've been in your shoes. We understand what it's like to run a practice, how busy a practice can be, how exhausting it can be to go from room to room where someone's really, really high and someone's really, really low. And that when you work with Elevate, you don't just have another marketing vendor. You have a marketing partner that is absolutely as invested in the mission and purpose that you have in your practice, because we're here to give, to love, to do, to serve out of a sense of abundance as well. And we want to help your community become healthier so that we can serve the greater mission to keep people off of drugs, avoiding surgeries, and living life at its fullest potential as possible through chiropractic care.
Love it. Couldn't have said that better. So thank you, man. Really appreciate you, Doc, for being here today. I know our audience really is going to appreciate this. So thank you so much. And I can't wait to see you. Maybe, are you at the next immersion?
I'll be at the next immersion.
Great. So we got to make sure we connect there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Remarkables. See you soon.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors.